So first things first, we've got like a window back here, and you can even see some harsh light coming from this angle of the camera. So we're going to want to try to emulate that on our smoke, because right now our smoke is super flat. Let's go ahead and after this time offset is happening here, we're going to want to do some further adjustments. Just add a grade node in and kind of set the value to the environment in which it's sitting in. You're trying to match the lighting as much as possible. So just giving it kind of like that warm, musty feel. It's kind of setting it into that world. And now, the other thing we're going to want to do is kind of add in kind of the shading in which the light is hitting the smoke in like specific angles. So first things first, let's go ahead and we're going to use a merge node here. I'm also going to use a Roto node, and we're going to drag that Roto node into our grade here. We're just going to create a separate area in which we're doing all this stuff. But taking this Roto node here, I'm going to want the top portion of this smoke to feel more lit than the bottom portion of the smoke, which will have more shadow to it. And now, if we go view this, I'm going to use the mask as our output here, and then I'm going to blur after that a decent amount, just so that way it kind of like fades between the top and the bottom. This section here, I'm just going to lighten the top of our smoke. And now if we add another merge node in on top here, you'll notice that we're kind of lighting the top of the smoke before it gets sent to our card down there. So now if we go view our merge stack here, you can see already that it's adding in like this extra kind of like glow. But just like that, we could actually go ahead and just grab the bottom fringes and even make that a little bit darker. So let's go ahead and do that as well. I'm gonna add another Roto node in, and let's go ahead and add another merge node. And the mask is going to be grabbed from that Roto. And we're just gonna grab this bottom section down here. Do our GPA again, and of course, blur after our Roto node. And we're just going to want this very bottom edge of the muzzle flash, because this is going to be the shadow of our muzzle flash. And of course, we could add another grade node in, and we'll be merging this back on top of our composite. We're going to darken up this edge down there. We're going to probably want to give it a little bit more brown texture to it as well. You can kind of see that musty environment coming through. And now, if we go into our scene here, the other thing is I was keyframing this to move with it. Let's go ahead and adjust some of these keyframes. I don't want as much of the top, so I'm just trying to... And you can kind of see that right there coming through. We're just creating this kind of lighting. It feels a little harsh. We might want to blur that a little bit more. If we blur that a little bit more, and then let's go ahead and just drag that a little ever so slightly further up. And one thing we could also do is by selecting this blur node here, we can actually keyframe like different parts of it. So like for instance, this amount of blur here is good, but maybe on this frame here, we want it to have less blur. That way it's not as encompassing of our entire shot. So now if we play that back, looks pretty nice. Let's go back to our merge node down here. Let's play this back and see what we got. And now, the other thing that we can do to really allow this to kind of like sit into our environment a little bit better is we're going to composite the overall grade of this. Now we are using 3D for this shot, so one thing that we can easily just do is just adjust the amount of mix between the merge here and the background. Okay, now let's go ahead and view this with our muzzle